I am Jim Sotelo, a 62-year-young runner and triathlete. I developed a style of low-impact running I call LIR, and it can help fight childhood obesity. I had a couple approach me, and they heard about what I've been doing with low-impact running, helping people that had knee and hip problems and that type of thing, and they were wondering if it could possibly help their daughter who was overweight to lose weight. Harley, I'm Jim Sotelo. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you. I developed a style of low-impact running called LIR, and hopefully it can help you in your efforts to try to improve on your running and to lose weight. And I started working on this program to help the First Lady Michelle Obama in her Let's Move program to help fight childhood obesity. And I find that low-impact running can be a valuable asset to help kids that want to lose weight to start a exercise program that will be beneficial in their their weight loss efforts.
My name's Harley Angel, and my favorite hobbies are going outside and running and to exercise and try to make a good day by exercising. My favorite hobbies are cycling, running, dancing, and cheer.
I was an overweight child myself. I struggled terribly to lose the weight. This is why I know how hard it is, both mentally and physically, for a child who is overweight to engage in an exercise program. Harley's experience is no different than mine was.
Normally I have physical pain on my hips because at first, for me, I start out fast and I don't go slow at first.
When you are overweight, the body has to recondition itself to take the stress of exercise. In this process, an overweight child might experience a lot of pain. Many children have never imagined themselves exercising, might believe they are not good at it. So gaining self-confidence in exercise is a challenge in itself. I know when I was young, I told myself I couldn't do it. Perhaps I told myself this because other people told me I couldn't do it. I felt embarrassed running because I imagined other people were looking at me and laughing at me. These mental barriers hold children back from their true potential. Harley has goals, and I want to see her achieve these goals.
I'm interested in low-impact running because I would like to improve in running and dancing. I'm hoping that low-impact running will teach me to pace myself.
Low-impact running helps build the psychological confidence an overweight child needs to engage in an exercise program. It does this simply by prescribing the steps one needs to take in order to low-impact run. There are three components in starting a successful weight loss program. The first is exercise. The second is proper nutrition, and the third is motivation. Here are the steps to performing low-impact running. LIR is a technique that combines three existing approaches to body movement activities: speed walking, jogging, and conventional running. Since I have tried all three of these approaches to exercising and did not find complete satisfaction in any one approach, I decided to combine them to create my own technique called LIR. I will show you how to do low-impact running or the LIR technique. First of all, overall body position. At all times, make sure you keep good posture. Keep your back straight. Concentrate on a firm abdomen. Now, lower body movements. Start the LIR technique by lifting and extending your right or left leg, keeping your legs slightly bent. Do not bend your knee fully as if you are engaging in a traditional running style. The focus should be placed more on the hip movement. Keep the foot of the extended leg approximately 1 to 2 inches off the ground. This will ensure that you are not using your knees to propel yourself. By not lifting your foot high with your knee, you will avoid a harsh downward motion and impact to your knee and hip joints. Imagine your foot sliding forward, propelling your body with each step. You will also lift up your rib cage. This increases the space for full lung capacity. As your exercise program progresses, increase your LIR speed with the same regular breathing. Adjust your breathing to your speed accordingly. Keep your arms moving. Properly moving arms will help with efficiency and also body stabilization. The arms act as counterweights and help propel the hips forward. The goal should be to move your arm in sync with the opposite leg. For example, the left arm will be extended when your right leg is extended. Keep your arms moving in the same direction as your body moving. Focus on keeping your hands and shoulders relaxed. Much energy will be wasted if you tense your shoulders or clench your fist. Please see my manual for more about stretching exercises that will help with low impact running. The second component of a successful weight loss program is proper nutrition. This is why I contacted the Carolinas healthcare system and had Dr. Summers and Dr. Tomko, who both work at the Carolina Weight Management Clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina, to speak about proper nutrition.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lisa Summers. I'm currently a pediatric gastroenterologist and nutritionist at Carolinas Weight Management here at the Carolinas healthcare system. My background training was as a pediatric dietitian. I received my bachelor degree at the University of California, Berkeley, and went on to do a registered dietitian examination. Then I entered medical school in the University of South Florida and did my pediatrics residency training there. I went on to do my fellowship training at Children's Hospital of Boston, Harvard Medical School, and then stayed on staff to work at their weight management clinic there, as well as to launch an adolescent bariatric surgery program. Currently, I work for Carolinas healthcare system at Carolinas Weight Management and Wellness Children, where we just launched a childhood obesity treatment program.
My name is Dr. John Tomko. I'm a medical director at the Carolinas Weight Management Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. I work for the Carolinas healthcare system. A little bit about my background. I am a registered dietitian prior to going to medical school, and I'm a board-certified family physician as well as a obesity medicine specialist.
What is the physical inactivity problem today in our youth? About 25% of all high school students get enough physical activity in their daily routines. Low-impact running can be the first and the best activity to try, because this is something that you could start with and work on to full running once you develop the cardiovascular stamina. Activity for American youth is one that should be vigorous, get your heart rate up, you breathe fast, and maybe even break a sweat. We want to include moderate activity as well. Low-impact running can be the perfect activity to start as a moderate activity and then move on to more vigorous activity. The barriers to physical activity now are often competing activities such as technology, also the lack of time and the safe areas to play. Many American youth do not have adequate sidewalks, community centers and recreational centers to go to for active, safe play. Often we look to organize sports in order to get these activities. Low-impact running, starting a low-impact running group in your community could be the perfect activity to do as a group, and could include grandparents, parents, children, aunts, uncles, and friends. So how many calories are recommended for growing and active children? When looking at our preschoolers and our kindergarten age children, about 1,300 to 1,400 calories a day is a typical amount of calories that an active child should consume. For our school-age children, 6 to age 9, about 1,400 to 1,600 calories a day would be a typical caloric intake. Looking at our preteen population, those children aged 10 to 13, about 1,700 to 1,800 calories a day is an adequate nutritional intake. With active adolescents, about 1,900 to 2,100 calories a day is a typical intake for an active adolescent.
So on average for adult women and men, your women are going to average around 1,400 to 1,600 calories a day to maintain weight, and for men in that range of 1,800 to 2,200. Now that's going to change with the amount of activity that they do. So the more active that you are, the more buffer you have with the calories to consume. When we are trying to figure out the caloric intake for an individual, the most accurate way of doing that is doing an indirect calorimetry measurement, which is measuring your resting metabolic rate. What this does is give you an accurate read of what your body requires just to keep you alive, and that resting metabolic rate equates out to about 70 to 75% of your daily caloric requirement.
So since the 1980s, there's been a huge increase in the size of our beverages, our foods, and our side portions. Children who have been born past the 1980s have grown up in a world of portion distortion. They don't realize the normal portion of orange juice is actually 4 ounces. Because when you pick it up in the grocery store, it comes in 8 to 12, or sometimes 16 ounces. The portions of hamburgers that are served today in our restaurants are actually the portions an adult should eat, and they're not childhood-sized portions. The average hamburger has increased from 250 calories up to 450 calories. This is not including any additional cheese, special sauces, mayonnaise, or bacon that goes on top. All in all, in one meal, if you sit down and drink a sugared sweetened beverage, an average size hamburger, and a regular fry, you will consume about 80% of your total caloric intake in one meal. So why is snacking so important? Kids can consume about 10 to 25% of their total caloric intake each day just from snacks. Snacks are for a growing body and an active body. When you think of a snack, you really should think of a whole food, such as a fruit, a vegetable, a whole grain cracker with some cheese. Most people think about highly processed foods that come in snack bags, such as cookies, crackers, cakes. These have additional salts, fats, and sugars that contribute to excessive calories. A recent study showed that children who are protected from obesity eat the highest amounts of vegetables and whole grains. So the healthiest diet is one that includes lots of vegetables and whole grains. When we think of vegetables, we think of non-starchy vegetables. These are peppers, cucumbers, broccoli, green beans. You should limit potatoes, corn, peas. These are starchier vegetables. Talking about whole grain foods, we're talking about brown rice and wild rice over white rice, quinoa over couscous, whole wheat pasta rather than white pasta. Including more of these foods such as brown breads, rye, pumpernickel, whole wheat, oat bran breads instead of white breads are ways to increase whole grains in your diet. So in review, what are 10 tips for a healthier lifestyle? Number 1, start off your day with a healthy, nutritious breakfast.
2, eat plenty of colors, so have many different colors of fruits and vegetables.
Number 3, choose the right fats. Choose more olive oil, canola oil, and peanut oil. Choose low-fat dairy products and avoid high-fat red meats.
4, measure your portion sizes. Lean meats should be a palm size. Choosing your fat should be about the size of dice.
Number 5, limit sugar-sweetened beverages and choose more water.
Number 6, energize yourself. Get out and be active. Aim for at least 60 minutes of activity daily.
Number 7, don't use the word diet. This is a healthy lifestyle that you should follow on a day-to-day basis.
Number 8, make good choices. There are no good or bad foods.
Number 9, make healthy eating and physical activity fun. Choose an activity you like and stick to it.
Number 10, set realistic goals. Key to success is setting small, achievable goals, and results will come.
Low impact running is fun. It's fun to learn, it's easy to do, it can help with that initial motivation. To find out more about motivation, I've asked wellness expert Peggy Hall her advice. She is featured on America Now, the CBS morning show, and also she is on her weekly radio show, ABC Radio Network.
Hi, it's Peggy Hall here, and I'm so happy to call you as my new friend. I want to share with you an important word that will help you create your best life. Let me give you a hint. I actually just used that word. Can you imagine what it is? A lot of people, when they try to be as good as they can, they actually try to compete with other people. And this is a mistake. In fact, I encourage you to never compete again. You see, I don't care for this word at all. Compete is something that you want to get rid of in your life, and I'm going to give you a better word instead. And that word is one of my favorite words, and it is create. Now, each of these letters is going to spell out another word that can help you create your best life. The reason I say don't compete is because you are a unique individual. You have a unique mind, you have unique desires, dreams in your heart, and there is never going to be another you in all of time. So I want to encourage you to create your own best life. And here's how. Let's look at the letter C. Can you imagine what that stands for? That stands for courage. And courage simply means to feel brave, to have the desire to act and to believe in yourself, even if others don't. This courage comes right from your heart. And I want to encourage you to believe in yourself and to believe in your dreams. Here's another tip. All dreams are valid. What you have in your heart, what you have in your mind, what you want to accomplish in your life is valid. Don't let anyone ever tell you that your dreams are not important. They are. And you should also respect other people's dreams as well. In fact, this is our word, create. We have courage, and our second word is respect. So one of the keys to creating your best life is to respect other people and to respect their dreams and their abilities, and to also require respect for yourself and to respect yourself. So treat yourself with dignity. Treat yourself with respect. You deserve it. So we've got create, respect. Guess what E stands for? This is one of my favorite words in the whole world, and this word is enthusiasm. And enthusiasm means to have energy and to be excited and to go after life with all of your heart and soul. And when you are enthusiastic about something, you can actually help others become enthusiastic as well. How do you do that? Well, you put a smile on your face, you put a smile in your heart, and you approach life with a sense of cheerful curiosity. There is so much goodness to be experienced in life, and so much goodness yet to come. So if you are here watching this video, regardless of your current conditions, whether physical, emotional, what have you, you have something to be thankful for. And that sense of gratitude can bring you a sense of enthusiasm for life. So we've got courage and respect and enthusiasm. Guess what the A stands for? This is also a very important word. This important word is action. Now, you can have all the dreams in the world, all the desire, all of the intention, all of the good plans, but if you don't take action, all of your ideas are going to die. People can be afraid to take action because they think there's so much work to be done. Here's a secret. Take just one step at a time, just like you do in the low impact running system. One step and then another and then another. And in the low impact running system, you have adapted that style to your needs. So you can adapt your action and each step that you're going to take so that you can not just dream, but you can achieve. So we've got, remember this one? Courage, and then respect. Next is enthusiasm, action. The T stands for, very important word, trust. I encourage you to trust yourself and to trust life and to trust the creator of your life. You can always say a prayer for help if you're not sure what to do, what the best course of action is. Remember, You are a unique human being that was created by a creator who gave you special gifts and special talents and a special heart and a special mind and a special soul that no other person in the entire history of time ever has. So trust your life, trust the creator of your life, and trust yourself to take action on your dreams. Here we go. Remember, courage, respect, that's right, enthusiasm, action, trust, and guess what the E stands for? There is one more word, and without this word, none of the other words will happen. This word is effort. Yes, my friends, it does take effort to go after your dreams, but you can have effort by believing in yourself. You can make effort by being excited and enthusiastic about your dreams. Now, effort is different than struggle. Struggle means you are using too much energy for too little result. So maybe you need to change your course of action, but always take effort. If you just dream and you don't act and you don't use some energy, then you will not create the life of your dreams. But you know what? I believe that you can do it. So we tore up the word compete. Don't worry about competing with anyone. You see, we don't need to compete. There is only one unique you in all of the world. So instead of competing with others, create your own best life. Here we go. We've got it. We're going to remind ourselves of what all these letters are. Here we are. Courage. That's for the C. And the next one, respect. Treat yourself with respect and others too. And the next we have my favorite word, and that word is enthusiasm. That has energy and joy and excitement, and you can pass it on to others. And then after that, we've got our A for action. Action is the easiest thing in the world. Not taking action is what's hard, but when you act, it's going to give you energy. Next, we've got T for trust. Trust life, trust the creator of your life, and trust yourself to create your own best life. And finally, yes, my friends, it does take effort, but you can do it. In fact, that's my final message to you. You can do it. I believe in you. I would love to hear from you as you're creating your best life. So please find me at peggyhall.com and let me know how your courage, respect, enthusiasm, action, trust, and effort is helping you create your own best life. Until I hear from you, take care and God bless.
I've also contacted Manny Mitchell. He's the Olympic silver medal winner in the 400 relay. After all, once a child has the motivation to succeed, he or she can break glass ceilings and soar.
Hi, I'm Manny Mitchell, Olympic silver medalist in the 4x400 meter relay, currently sponsored by Nike and running for Team USA. I currently train here at Western Carolina University under the direction of my current coach and former coach, Western Carolina's own Danny Williamson. I'm here speaking on behalf of LIR, which is low impact running, and I'm here to share some secrets with you and to help inspire you all to give this a shot and see what you can do with it. Yeah, definitely. The U.S. definitely struggles when it comes to the obesity rate with our children. I think the main reason why we struggle with our kids here is because we want them to lose the weight so fast, and you pressure them to do things that they may not want to do or they may not know how to do correctly, which often leads to even more bad habits of eating and often injuries as well. But I think with low impact running, you teach them to use the time wisely, and you're not forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. You're introducing them to something that, again, is low impact, so it's not putting stress on their body. And with this tension of stress that's gone away, it also creates a healthy eating habit because your metabolism increases, which makes you want to eat healthier and you burn the fat faster. So with the obesity problem that we have here in the United States, I think low impact running could definitely have a great success rate. It would definitely decrease the weight very, very fast. And I believe that, like I said, just introducing those small steps would lead to the bigger steps in losing that weight toward the end and for your goal. I feel like with the low impact running and teaching these kids and students how to use coordination and build upon that to create the little bitty steps that will lead to bigger steps on the track or in football or anything that they want to do with low impact running. So again, just building off of coordination, learning and teaching them how to use their arms correctly and take bounds and take baby steps to build up to bigger steps.
As with any exercise program, you should always warm up beforehand and cool down afterward. A good stretching regimen is a great idea in the prevention of injury. I turn to my chiropractor to talk about the benefits of a stretching program and share some stretches. He will show you some tips.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Mike Begley. I'm a practicing chiropractor at the Carolina Chiropractic Plus. I spent a lot of time working with Jim Sotelo on his biomechanics for low impact running. He's certainly among the pioneers for the technique, and I'm certainly glad to help and assist with certain techniques for stretching in regards to running, specifically for low impact running. I'll be talking quite a bit about dynamic stretching specifically. Now, dynamic stretching versus static stretching is an important point to be made, because for dynamic stretching, that's typically done before a run or a workout to prepare the muscles and joints, ligaments, etc. properly for that activity. Static stretching is what you normally think of, just standing still, bending forward to stretch hamstrings or lower back. Dynamic stretching is something that really doesn't focus a lot on lengthening a muscle to the maximum amount and more on just warming it up, preparing certain muscle patterns, and causing the joint to be in a situation where it can really sustain quicker movements. If you think of it this way, if you go to a massage therapist and you get this 30-minute, 60-minute massage, and they're really stretching muscles and warming them up to a certain point, when you're done with that, you feel almost light, right? Almost like you're floating on air. And we don't really want that, first of all, for a run. You want to be prepared, you want to be warm, but you don't want to be in a position where your muscles can't react to certain terrains or certain movements of the joints. So dynamic stretching will be very, very key for starting your runs, and we'll walk through several different movements that you can do based on your activity level or based on how challenging you want the dynamic stretch to be. And we'll go through that step by step, and we'll get right into those. Okay, so the first exercise that we'll demonstrate, actually stretch, dynamic stretch that we'll demonstrate, is called a walking lunge. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but there are key points to take away from it. The purpose of this dynamic stretch is to warm up things like the quadriceps, the hamstrings, all the glute muscles, calves, and hip flexors. And as we do this, we're going to think about doing a walking lunge where our knee is not going forward of our toe. We're still having great posture, so our shoulders are back and down, and we're doing a very deliberate lunge where every time we're engaging all those muscles that I just talked about. So as we do the movement, we'll step forward, right? The knee doesn't go beyond the toe. We come down to just above the floor with the opposite knee, shoulders back and straight, and down again. So as that lunge progresses, we're just doing a nice, deliberate movement there. So the key thing to remember there is that it's not about speed, and it's not about stretching as far as you can. It's about doing the movement very deliberately. And the recommended length for each one of these movements is approximately 20 yards or so, down 20 yards back. So you get about 40 yards in, and down and back should be plenty. Of course, if you want to add more than that, you're more than welcome to do so to get a better warm-up. And that's the walking lunge. So the next dynamic stretch we'll do is called we call it the glute kicker or butt kicker, right? And the main purpose of this is to warm up and stretch the quadriceps, and to also kind of increase the speed of the movement, so we're really preparing for that quicker gait of actual running. And so as we do that, we're going to focus on a couple of things, which I'll demonstrate right now. So as we do this, we want to make sure that as we come up in the kick, that we're kicking backwards and trying to touch the heel right to the glute area. And that really engages that hamstring very well. It fires that up and prepares it for gait during running. What you want to avoid is bringing your knee up this way to kick. If you can try to keep your knee that's kicking in line with the opposite knee, that's exactly the right way to do it. So in slow motion, we'll be doing this, right? And as we do that just in a stationary position, I'll demonstrate this, will be just like that. So staying up on your toes, right, you can almost hear, right, that heel kick, and that's how you want to be. Again, doing that for about 20 yards down, 20 yards back, and you'll really start to feel those muscles warm up, feel that blood flow accumulating, and really get those muscle firing patterns properly down before the run. All right, the next stretch we'll do is called the inchworm, and what this will focus on mostly are the calves, some of the hamstrings, and then also the lower back. And the key to this, which I'll demonstrate in just a minute, is to keep the legs as straight as possible during the movement, and to walk your feet up towards your hands, right, in a bent position as close as possible before you begin a new movement. So here we go. So good. To begin the movement, simply bend forward. You can kind of walk your hands out one at a time here. Keep the legs as straight as possible. You walk your hands out just inch by inch until you're flat out. Now this is going to warm up the body, and then you walk your feet up on your toes so you get to the point where you can drop your heels on the ground and walk them up close to your hands as possible, and then repeat the movement this way. And again, walk your feet up the best you can so they're flat on the floor, and repeat. Take your time with that one, and again, you'll feel a stretch right away in calves and hamstrings, and that'll be a great way to start the run. Next move will be the straight leg kick. Straight leg kick, make sure you do this in a way that is to your ability. You don't have to rush this by any means. You don't have to kick up toward your face, but as we demonstrate this, you'll see it's very easy to do. You'll be kicking one leg at a time towards the opposite hand and try to touch that hand as best you can. All right, to begin the movement, just like the movement sounds, you kick one leg at a time, reaching out the opposite hand, try to touch that toe. So as we begin, right, nice and straight leg, and really kicking in a way where the leg stays straight, and try to touch that hand every time. As you do that, again, nice and slow and deliberate, great way to warm up the hip joint right here in particular. The warmer the joint, the better and safer that run is going to be. All right, the next movement we'll do is called the lateral lunge. Very similar in principle to the lunge we did at the very beginning, but this will be in an instance where we can kind of warm up the glute medius muscle, the muscle on the side right here. And the focus of that is going to be to warm up the hip region, and again, extend those leg muscles as much as possible to get the joints warmed up. Okay, so same principles are going to be described here as the previous lunge movement. And remember to keep your back straight, shoulders back and down. And as we bend into that lunge position, remember the knees never go beyond the toes here. So be in a nice solid position here, feet about shoulder width apart. You have most of your weight centered on your heels. And one at a time, you're going to lean a little bit to the side, reach with your toe out, and then come back in, stay nice and low. So every time you reach, you're not going to come up. You're going to keep that low position where that knee is nice engaged, and you're going to come together again about shoulder width, a little inside shoulder width. So just reaching out with the toe and coming back just like that. Again, knees right above the toes. Nice and deliberate movement, down and back about 20 yards each, and very similar to the lunge principles, but this again, working those muscles on the side here as they engage every step of the way during the run. Okay, so the purpose of this next demonstration is really a strengthening exercise. This focus of the video series is on low impact running, and a lot of the results from low impact running and the protection aspect of that comes from strengthening the knee before you ever start to run. And so if those muscles are firing correctly around the knee, it's basically a protection mechanism to guard against injury as you run. So this is not so much a stretch beforehand, although you can certainly employ it as a stretch before the run, but this you can do anytime, right, you're not running. Whether it's at home, while watching TV, or elsewhere, you can always employ this exercise. It's very simple, it's very effective, and like I said, it can be done anywhere. We'll do the demonstration here, but as you see the pattern, as we get down to this movement, look at the pattern I make on the floor with tape. Very simple. We're making a cross with the tape, and then two crossing tapes either side, almost like a clock, and we'll do the movement from that position. All right, so as we prepare for the movement, again, same principle we've talked about a lot, is keeping that knee behind the toe. You don't have to bend any more than maybe 45 degrees or so, just so that knee is engaged. And what you want to be sure through all these movements is that the knee doesn't waver from side to side. The purpose of this is to, again, stabilize that knee. So if you're moving in either direction, you're kind of defeating the purpose of that. So really resist that temptation to move the knee that's planted with this movement. So very simply put, we're going to be tracing the pattern of the tape on the floor with the opposite toe. So we'll be using the toe as a pointer in each one of those directions. So very simply, we'll start with the first piece of tape right about 10 or 11 o'clock. You would see it on the clock face. And you're coming feet together, reaching all the way out with the toe in that tape, coming back to the middle, reaching all the way out that way, back to the middle, back you to an angle, back to the middle, all the way backwards. This is where it gets challenging, but maintain this posture. Cross it, all the way back to the side, this way, all the way out to that angle, and the best you can even reach beyond that as best you can. And while we do this, I stay down the whole time. You can certainly take your time and come up and relax between if you have to, but the whole purpose of this, again, is just to maintain stability right here. And if you can do that pattern, both legs, about 5 times through, it's going to really start to develop those muscle patterns for stability and protect that knee long term during the lifespan of your running career.
Sometimes the weather might be bad. In the wintertime, the weather might be too cold. In the summer, it might be too hot. This is where a local gym can be a good alternative. I personally like the YMCA, so I asked the fitness director to tell us about her facility.
My name is Melanie Beyer. I am the Wellness Director at Dover Foundation YMCA.
I'm Luke Moll, and I'm a wellness coach.
Here at the YMCA, we have many opportunities.
There's many different classes that we offer that offer low impact exercises and many different equipment that we have.
At the YMCA Wellness Room, we have the treadmill, which is a great place to use to do the low impact running, and you can either run or walk on that. We have the elliptical, which kind of does a low gliding motion. You can be optional with arms or without arms, so you can use your upper body as well as your lower body. We have the stationary bike, which will help strengthen your legs, help with cardiovascular endurance. We have the Summit Trainer, which is also a great cardio exercise that helps increase your heart rate, build strong muscles, and that's more an upward gliding motion. We also have the Octane bike, which is the seated elliptical, it's called, and that uses your upper body as well as your lower body. If the weather's not great outside, you can always use the indoor track, and that's where you can also do the low impact running. Many different group exercise classes such as yoga to help with stretching, body pump to help build strength for your muscles.
Spinning, all kinds of different classes that are low impact that you can use of any different age, any different body type, doesn't matter what you are. We're accommodated for everyone.
And any population is welcome. We have active older adults and also special populations.
So come join us today.
Sometimes it's good to have a personal trainer. They can help motivate you and keep you on task. Jay Jackson provides just the right service.
I think the best thing about exercising is that everyone needs to get active. Basically, people with special needs can do low impact exercises or low impact running, and you just need to get moving, because when you're moving, you're building a healthy heart. Standing behind me, we have a Octane. It's a sit-down elliptical. It's fairly easy to use, but before you tend to get on a machine like this, you might want to try to do some warm-up exercises. You want to get your core temperature up. So you can do that in just several different ways. You can come in, you can walk, you can go into a sauna, get your temperature up some. You want to wait about maybe 5-6 minutes doing these typical exercises before you get on something like this. The benefit of this machine right here is that if you have knee injuries, or if you have like a hip injury or something to that nature, that you can exercise on this piece of equipment, and it'll be a little pain as you do the exercise itself. So the most beneficial thing about this is you're sitting down, you're not putting a lot of pressure on your knee if you have knee problems, or on your hip or something like that. So this will be beneficial to someone that has some kind of issue with their knees or something to that nature. Now this piece of equipment right here is called a recumbent bike. What's beneficial about this piece of equipment, you can get on here and it's easy access. You can just lift up the armrest, or if you have like an elderly person that comes in and they're having problems with getting on and getting off equipment, you can easily get in here. So this piece of equipment, it basically takes away from the pressure and pain from your joints. You're not doing a lot of pounding. And see, low impact exercising or low impact running, you're getting a lot of, the least bit of pressure you get, that's what you want whenever you have like a lot of issues with that problem. So getting in here, you can sit down and you can just pedal and you can take off. You can kind of leisurely burn calories if you wanted to. And when we're burning calories, the major thing is we're exercising our heart and we're trying to lose weight, or we're just trying to have a healthier body. All right. Now on this piece of equipment, I absolutely love this piece of equipment. It's called the Arc Trainer. Getting on here, this would take something like a person just coming around, they just hop on board. It burns the most calories in my facility at this particular time. I try to lean more people who have issues with like their joints to this piece of equipment right here. People who can still kind of run, but yet still they want that low impact running. This right here, it justifies everything it wants to take. It takes care of everything that you have the heart and desire to want to do as far as like exercising. So I advise anybody to come in here and they see something like this, they want to hop on board, start off low and gradually increase until they feel comfortable with the exercises that they're doing. Now if you feel any kind of discomfort when you're doing an exercise on this piece of equipment, you should just back off a little bit, maybe get off and take your time and maybe start over, or go back to one of the other exercises like a sit down bike or the octane or something like that. But this piece of equipment is absolutely designed to go towards low impact running. All right, on this piece of equipment here is the treadmill. It's conventional. It's the same piece of equipment anywhere that you go. You can get on here. What's special about the treadmill is that it absorbs the impact. When you're doing a low impact run, and this is something that you want to get on, it symbolizes something that a natural run that you'll be doing outside, or if you're playing basketball or anything like that, but yet still it's not the impact that smack. So right now you will get on here, and if you have a tendency to want to run, you can jump on here and you can run, and it'll alleviate some of the pain that you may be having with some of the joints and stuff like that if you're having some of the problems with that.
As with all exercise programs, it is recommended that you talk to your doctor and get his or her approval first. You should tell them about low impact running. You can direct them to my website at lowimpactrunning.net. You can show them the manual or the actual technique. Your approach to an exercise program is best approached between you and your physician. I contacted Dr. Sanjay Patel, a cardiologist in my area. I knew he was a community activist when it came to motivating people to walk. He is also the facilitator for a national program called Walk with a Doc. I asked him to talk about the benefits of an exercise program such as LIR, low impact running, and what a person should know when it comes to the cardiovascular system.
Hi, my name is Sanjay Patel. I'm one of the cardiologists who works at the Sanger Heart and Vascular Institute. We're a single specialty group who also work under the umbrella of Carolina's Physicians Network, or Carolina's healthcare systems, providing care for all under one roof, basically. So the scene you've just seen is one of my favorite spots to go to. You can find these scenes across the whole Americas, across the whole world probably. Every place you look around, you'll find these scenes. Why is the scene so important? When you get up this far, you can appreciate the tranquility and the serenity of it all. The problem with these scenes you've seen, it's hard to get to them. A lot of the times, motorized vehicles are not allowed to come up here. So what does that mean? Physical exercise, which means walking, or even an entity called low impact running. I endorse exercise. It's in many shapes and forms. Running, bicycling, swimming, walking. We have evidence that really suggests that walking is probably one of the best ways of exercise for the pure reason, and the rules are simple, 30 minutes a day, every day. How do you exercise on a regular basis without injuring yourself? The biggest problem with exercising in terms of running or jogging, etc., is injury goes up. That's why stretching is so important before and after. But more importantly, if you can do it continuously, which is on a regular basis, without the act of injury, you're more likely to consider doing it for the rest of your life. That's what we're trying to do here. Try to stay healthy for the rest of our lives. How do we do that? Walk or do any type of activity that gets your heart rate to 85% of your maximum predicted heart rate. So the formula we use to predict what your maximum predicted heart rate should be in terms of exercise is you take the number 220, take away from your age. Say you're 80 years of age. So you're left with the number 140. 140. From that, you take away 85%, which is 21, so we say about 120. So your heart rate becomes 120. That's your target heart rate when you're exercising. You want to get your heart rate to 120 and hold it there for 20 to 30 minutes. That's a good workout. So again, 85% of your predicted heart rate is our goal. In fact, 85% is what we use in terms of treadmill stress testing. When we see people for stress testing, we want to get to 85% of the heart rate. That tells us that this stress test is accurate, and we can depend on the results in an accurate form. Less than that, the results become inaccurate. When we talk about exercise, it's equally important to talk about diet. I hate the word diet because if anyone who's been on a diet knows that diets don't work. Lifestyle modification is a better goal, which means portion control and eating regular meals. Not binge eating and combining healthy portions in the sense of a little bit higher protein, less fat, avoiding fried food, and definitely avoiding salty food. Those are the first few steps we can take to get to a better healthy plan. Let's turn our attention to childhood obesity. We know it's becoming an endemic, it's an epidemic at this point. How do we get kids to be healthier? Simple. A lot of times they don't have time for this and that, but at least they can get up and walk 30 minutes. Kids will get bored with walking, so for them, something called low impact running may be equally beneficial. Why do we really exercise in regards to heart disease? We know coronary artery disease is in all of us, from the day we're born to the day we pass. The level of stenosis we may get is variable in different societies, different patients, etc. Let me break it down a little bit simpler. Look at your coronary artery. Think of it as a hose pipe. It supplies blood to the heart. We're going to get plaque buildup from cholesterol, calcification, etc. And we have to understand what this plaque buildup can do. Plaque can become, it's a living, breathing organism, by the way, the plaque. It's not just a compound that sits there. It changes on a regular basis. And to better explain that, if people who exercise regularly put some more demand on your heart, for your muscles need more oxygen, so the heart pumps harder and faster, what that entail does is stretches those arteries up and exercises them. As the arteries stretch and contract with exercise, those plaques get softer. Cholesterol medicine, for example, like statins, can help with that too, but exercise is a good form of making those plaques softer. And why do we want to keep your plaque soft? Because if that plaque becomes hard, the chance of it dissecting and causing a massive heart attack is a real problem. Nobody wants that, clearly. So let's keep those arteries open, in the sense that keep those plaques nice and soft by exercising regularly, eating a well-balanced diet, seeing your doctor on a regular basis, having your cholesterol checked. Why am I pushing to have you be evaluated by a healthcare provider before you start exercise? We should be giving some reassurance to you that, listen, we feel that at this point it's safe for you to exercise. It may be your knees, maybe your joints, maybe other health issues that may curtail you from doing this, but if you check with your healthcare provider, at least they can minimize your risk of any type of shortfalling you may experience with exercise.
I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career to be an athlete. I've always strived to run my own race and set my own personal goals. I think this is important, running your own race. Of course, at my age, we still have injuries from earlier mishaps in life. Sometimes the route you find yourself in is in need of surgery. I've had to have a hip replacement and also had to have knee surgery. In both cases, I recovered extremely quickly. This plays an important part in your recovery. I've asked my ortho surgeon, Dr. Stuckey, to address how low-impact running can be a good exercise for people with knee and hip issues.
I'm William Stuckey, orthopedic surgeon, Shelby, North Carolina. I work for Ortho Carolina. Low impact running has a lot of benefits for people as opposed to doing more high stress or high impact exercise. In different populations it has more meaning. People who have already had significant joint injuries are not able to perform a high impact type exercise program. It generates too much pain or adds to their already existing injury. Degenerative processes come on just from wear and tear arthritis. People who have had issues with weight in the past and have suffered joint injury or destruction from obesity also have a similar problem. They cannot participate in a high impact, high intensity program and need some other way to still participate in a exercise program. Low impact running is just that. It does not stress the joints. It still provides you a good aerobic stress to the heart and lungs without the stress to the hips and knees. One of the definitions of low impact exercise is that you always have a foot on the ground. Low impact running clearly defines this.
And as I know from personal experience that even after you lose the weight, you still might have joint issues after having carried the body weight for such a long period of time.
Low impact running offers benefits to people who are at this time very overweight. It is an exercise that can be done in cooperation with diet. It is the exercise component that a lot of people need to help them lose weight, to maintain their physical fitness, and to promote their health. I strongly recommend people consider this as an alternative, especially if they have joint or weight or other problems that they think might otherwise have prohibited them from doing it.
Many of my students have asked me what is the best athletic shoe to wear when you low impact run. I'm getting ready to interview Brock Ward. He is a certified pedorthist, and he will be able to answer this question and give you some guidelines on what you should look for when you're picking out a proper shoe to low impact run in.
Hey, I'm Brock Ward with Shope Shoes, the general manager, CPED, and also known as Certified Pedorthist. What we're looking at today is trying to find the right shoe for people while they're doing the low impact running. There's a lot of things to consider. Number one is where to go to get your shoes for the low impact running or regular running. I mean, most of the time that you can accomplish the same task by having the same shoe for each activity. You need to find a location that is professional, that knows a little bit about the shoes and foot conditions, and someone that is able to ask the right questions so that you can get the right shoe. A good question is, first of all, the question that the person helping you needs to ask is, basically tell me a little bit about what type of activity that you're doing. Are you going to be doing low impact running, or are you going to be running a marathon? You want to find the right shoe based off of the foot type. When I mean foot type is, is it someone with a high arch, a low arch, or a medium arch? Medium arch, of course, is the best foot type for running. It's the most efficient foot. If we're looking at someone that has a high arch, that's going to be a different type shoe. When we're looking at the different shoes, for someone that has a high arch, we're going to be looking at a shoe similar to this one right here, and we're looking at how much torsional stability the shoe has. What I mean by that is how much the shoe is able to twist in this area right here that we're looking at. Okay, and so when we twist this right here, this is good for someone with a rigid foot lever or someone with a high arch. If we're looking at a medium arch type person, let's see, we're probably talking about, this is probably a better one right here, where it's going to be moving a little bit. You see that? But not quite as much as the other one. And then someone that has a very low arch, we're going to be talking about something that usually has a different color or different durometer, which is a measure of hardness. So this shoe doesn't really twist at all. So that's good for someone that has a flat foot, flat arch, or basically no arch. So this will control the motion of the foot inside the shoe. And what this does is it controls the movement on those tendons, ligaments, and joints inside the shoe so that the foot doesn't have to overwork, because if the foot is overworking, then it's not very efficient and then it starts to hurt. So these are some of the things that you should really ask about, you know, if the person there knows, you know, what they're talking about with the shoes, so they'll be able to help you out there. Foot care, I mean, there's a lot of different things, you know, when it comes to foot care. You want to be sure that, number one, that you wash your feet daily, that you wear the proper socks. You want to wear a sock when it comes to low impact running. This is a technical elite New Balance sock right here. It has like moisture management. Some of the socks may have wool in them, merino, cashmere wool, and basically that's designed to wick away the moisture off the feet, because if your feet are drier, you're more healthy. Okay. The other thing, when you're wearing your shoes in the mornings, and then sometimes during the day, you want to be sure that you take your shoes off and just examine, especially in the morning, to make sure that there's nothing inside the shoe that can cause blisters or calluses. That's just a good way to take care of your feet throughout the day. One thing that we like to address is people coming to the store all the time, every day, talking about they have been diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, which is basically an inflammation of the plantar fascia, which is the connective tissue. It's like an elastic type tissue at the bottom of the foot, and it goes from the heel to the ball of the foot or the forefoot. And sometimes people will, have issues with that. It's primarily known as heel pain. So, if you've been in the bed sleeping and you get up and you stand up, you go to the bathroom, whatever, you have that, oh, my feet are hurting. So you need to stretch out that plantar fascia. A lot of times people will use the stick right here, or some people can use a can of green beans just to put on the floor to, you just put it down on the floor. And then, when you have your shoes off, you just kind of roll it back and forth like that, and put as much pressure as you can on the bottom of your foot, and that'll kind of release some of that tension out of the feet. And then when you get up, it's a whole lot easier to walk. Regarding the orthotics, that's probably one of our most frequently purchased items in the whole store is the corrective orthotics. There's a custom orthotic, and what I mean by custom orthotic is an orthotic that we make because the doctor has made a prescription saying that you need a custom orthotic because you have certain issues or foot deformities. So that's the first thing that we have to look at. A lot of times, there'll be a lot of things on TV saying, hey, this is great, but that particular one might not be great for you. That's why it's important to have someone that's knowledgeable, that can ask you a lot of questions, that can try different things on your feet to make sure that it's right. For someone with a high arch, what we're looking at here is, this is actually the Atrex Lenco orthotics. And if you can see that, it actually has curvature, and it tries to mock the shape of the foot. And then there's 3 arches on the foot. There's the medial longitudinal arch, there's the lateral longitudinal arch, and also transverse or metatarsal arch. So there's actually like a pad right here that will relieve some of the metatarsal arch pain that you have. It's basically redistribution of pressure, and that's what the orthosis is all about. So kind of the difference between this one right here for a high arch person and someone with a low arch is the difference. I don't know if you can zoom in on this right here, how on the lateral side it's a little bit thinner here, and then I'm going to change it over here to the medial side. You can see the difference in the height there. What happens with a person with a low arch, it's a very flexible foot, and what happens is there's sometimes a weakness of the posttibial tendon, which basically wraps around, goes from the back of the leg, wraps around to the medial side of the foot to help hold the arch up. Sometimes there's a weakness of that, and the calcaneus, which is the heel bone, needs to be slightly turned over so that the foot is in the ankle is not rolling in, and which also gets bad alignment for the knees and then the pelvis area also. So those are some of the things to consider, you know, whenever you're choosing the right shoe. You know, we're looking at the torsional rigidity and the stability of the shoe. You know, there's a cushion shoe, which is a neutral shoe, stability shoe, and then also a motion control shoe. So those are the things that you're looking at. There's a lot of good information out there on the websites, atrex.com or foot.com, where you can get a lot of information on, you know, what foot problems that you may have. And it's always a good idea to go see, you know, a pedorthist. As a last result, you want to go to a podiatrist. You know, you want to have your feet not cut on and not have the shots if you can possibly go that way. You know, this is just a more economical, better solution than having foot surgery.
So Harley has been doing the low impact running program for about 2 months now, since the original video was taken. I want to check back with her and see how she's doing.
Hi, my name's Harley Angel and I'm 13 years old. 2 months ago I started low impact running. It has made a big difference on me and myself. Whenever I run normally, it's hard for me to like breathe and to run faster. But when I do the low impact running, it helps me and my joints and my muscles. It makes me feel like that I'm barely running, and it helps me increase the level I'm normally on.
I'm so impressed with Harley. She is not only engaging in my program, but she is developing more self-confidence. I can hear it in her voice and I can see it in her demeanor.
Instead of picking McDonald's or maybe Burger King or restaurants out to eat, I started eating salads and vegetables and cherries. I think anyone out there that wants to run should choose low impact running, because it will make a big difference upon your life like it did mine.
I want to remind everybody, this is not a fast, trendy weight loss program. It's an exercise program that must be maintained over years to form good, lifelong training and weight management habits. So I hope you'll try my low impact running technique. Any weight loss program, such as the First Lady's Let's Move program to stop childhood obesity, will benefit by adding this activity to their program. You can find out more about me, contact me, and purchase the Low Impact Running Manual by visiting lowimpactrunning.net. I hope to see you on the Low Impact Running Trail. Thank you so much.